folks, welcome back to Rule of Thumb and another installment of Jarred Up January. If you haven't been following this series, do yourself a favor, go back, start from the beginning, and catch up and see all the amazing things that have been canned so far. Today, I'm going to do something very different from what I normally do. This is a very ingredient-heavy recipe, which you all know I prefer simple and easy. This has 21 separate ingredients in the recipe, but most of them are readily available, and the things that are harder to find I will put links for down below. And I'm doing this because it's something I've always wanted to try. The recipe is for HP sauce, which is an English brown sauce, for lack of a better description. At one point in my life, I worked in London, and this was a staple over there. They use brown sauce like we use A1 or ketchup. It's kind of an in-between, and it was just something I've always loved. It goes great with pasties, which you all know I love to make pasties. So I always kind of wanted to try and make it from scratch myself, and that's what we're going to do today. So I'm going to turn you around, show you all the ingredients that we're working with, and then we'll talk about where we're going to go from there. Okay, folks, here we go. I am going to just go through what the ingredients are, and I'm actually going to type up the measurements and put them down below because there's probably too many for you to catch all in this one setting. So we have 3 small chopped onions, and it calls for a finely chopped clove of garlic. I use some garlic paste. I have orange juice and apple juice. I have roughly chopped apple. I have prunes and dates. I have treacle. Now, treacle is going to be one of those ingredients, can you see that there? That is going to be not readily available in a store here, but it is available on Amazon. You could substitute really dark molasses for this, but I tried to go as traditional as possible. Tamarind paste. This is another thing that is probably going to be not as readily available, although you can get this in the international foods aisle at a lot of stores, but I'll put a link down there for that. Tomato paste, water, white wine vinegar, and then spices. We have onion powder, ground cloves, white pepper, ground cardamom, ground mustard, ground allspice, salt, and cinnamon. And then in the very back here I have some apple cider vinegar, which you add at the end of the process. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to combine everything except for the spices and the apple cider vinegar in a pan, bring it up to a boil, and then I'm going to hit it with an immersion blender. So I'm going to get it in the pan, get it cooking, and then I'll bring you folks back when we're at the next step. Okay, so I just wanted to bring you back quick and let you see what it looks like. So what they want you to do is bring this up to a boil, which it is just about there. I don't think it needs to be like a rolling boil. And you do that with it covered. I've had the lid on this whole time. You know, basically it said stir to blend, cover it, bring it to a boil, which it's just about there, and then turn it down covered, let it simmer for 20 to 25 minutes. So that's the point that I am at now. So I just wanted to bring it back so you could see kind of process-wise along the way how it's going to look. So I will bring you back after this is simmered for 25 minutes, and then we're going to hit it with the immersion blender. Okay, folks, we're back. So it's been 25 minutes of simmering. So I just wanted you to see what it looks like here. I am going to hit this with my immersion blender, and I'll do that off camera so that you don't have to hear the awful blender sound. But then I'll bring you back once I have it all blended up. Okay, so now I have blended this pretty thoroughly with my immersion blender. So you can see it's definitely at a saucy texture. That definitely thickened it up quite a bit. So now it says to add the spice blend. So we'll put that in here. Make sure we get all of it. And stir that through thoroughly. And then it says cover and let simmer for another 35 to 40 minutes. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to get this blended in here. Make sure it's all thoroughly mixed through. Scrape down the sides of your pot as you're doing this. That's one key to when you're making anything saucy like this. You know, you want to keep your sides of your pot as clean as possible because that is where you will lose some flavor otherwise. Plus, it won't burn or crust on the side. So, adding that spice mixture, I mean, the scent of this is pretty unbelievable. Wow. This is where we definitely need smell-o-vision. So, I am going to run through this once more with my immersion blender because I saw a couple chunks in there. Then I'm going to put the lid on, let this go for 35 to 40 minutes, and I'll bring you folks back when we're ready to put this in the... Actually, there's one more step, so I'll bring you back for the last step. Okay, folks, we're back, and this has been simmering for 35 minutes. And now, the last step is to add 3/4 of a cup of apple cider vinegar. And then we're going to turn this up to medium, bring this back to a simmer, let it simmer for 5 minutes, and then we'll be ready to get it into a jar. So I will bring you folks back when we're ready to put it in a jar. Okay, folks, we're back, and so after I let it simmer for the 5 minutes, I tasted it. I thought it still needed a little bit more salt, so I added another 2 teaspoons of salt, and I also added another tablespoon of the treacle because I thought it was a little too sharp. This should be a very vinegary, sharp sauce, but it was too sharp. So I added another tablespoon of the treacle just to mellow that out a little bit. And now I think it's perfect. So I'm now going to get this into the jars, and you'll be able to see how beautifully thick and rich this sauce is. So we're going to go to a 1/4 inch headspace. I'm using my little squat 8-ounce jars just because they're fun and different. So a little bit more in here. Alright. And we're right at a 1/4 inch. And I'm going to get my paper towel here. A little bit of vinegar. We're going to wipe the rim. Grab my hot lid here. I know it says you don't have to do it anymore, but I still think it's a good, safe practice. And grab a ring here. Of course, I did not have them ready because I was, didn't I say in the last video, if you don't forget one thing, it's not a proper canning video? I mean, this is the nature of the beast. So, got my ring here, and fingertip tight, and that is going to go in the canner. Now, I'm going to finish getting these into the jars. I'm using my Ball electric water bath canner. So I am going to turn it on to the canning setting. It'll come up to a boil. I'm going to let these process for 15 minutes. I'll turn it off, let it sit for another 5 minutes, and then I'll take them out of the canner and I'll come back and show you the finished product. Okay folks, here we are, finished product. So, let's see if I can hold one up here for you. These just came out of the canner. So you can see it's a beautiful colored product. I mean, it's a nice dark brown, rich sauce. I actually was talking to Heather over at the Needy Homesteader, and she was saying, is there an option for people, if they don't want to can this or can't can this. So you could definitely put this in your refrigerator and it would keep for probably upwards of a month easy in your refrigerator. But the other option you could do is cool this down, pour it into ice cube trays and freeze it, and then put it in a Ziploc bag or a freezer container or something to that effect. And you could just take a cube out and thaw it as you needed it. So just an alternative storage method there for you, but these canned up beautifully, and now I will have these on my shelf for future use and for future gifts. So I hope you folks enjoyed this video. Make sure you go around and check everybody else's videos out. The list will be below. I hope you enjoyed this video. As always, come back and see us soon.